having another one of our RUMERTIME conversations.
Okay.
And we're at the Allwell Studios in South Bend, Indiana. Yeah, so with us today is Walter V. Murray and Miss Rosemarie Wilson Murray, Mrs. Of course, their husband and wife. So tell us about yourselves.
Yeah.
I worked as a social worker in New Jersey for quite some time, and actually wanted to work until retirement as a welfare director. I had so much fun doing that. After a number of years, I received a promotion and worked as a human service director, again in New Jersey, supervising 6 different governmental departments, and I had a lot of fun doing that.
Good. So we're here today to talk about the RUMERTIME process, of course, because every time is RUMERTIME.
That's what I've heard.
That's it. Every time is RUMERTIME. Every time, anywhere, with everyone.
Okay.
It's RUMERTIME. And so, on the table you see some of the books that the most recent release is the Cultivating SEEDS. This is it here, the Cultivating SEEDS System and the K-12 curriculum. And so we have the activity workbook for the students, and if you can just kind of lift that up and display it. There you go. So each grade, each age, and we use ages so that people in other parts of the world who do not have the same K-12 system, they can it is still accessible and relatable, right? So we use 5 to 7. We also have the pre-K to 5, so that's the 3 to 5 year olds. And each age category has the activity workbook and a facilitator guide, a facilitator curriculum guide. And and again, we're very intentional about how we use the language. So we didn't say teacher curriculum guide, we said facilitator, because we want individuals in the community, within and outside of the school setting or education setting, to be able to adopt this curriculum.
So is it only for educational settings, or what about like workplaces?
It's for workplaces, and so that's why we call it facilitators. So you can use it in businesses, you can use it, we've actually done trainings with banks. We've done trainings in different settings, and part of the name Cultivating SEEDS, it stands for social emotional education in diverse settings. And that is critical. Again, language we use, we're very intentional about the language that we use.
So the age groupings go all the way up to what age? Is there
all the way up to
starts at 8?
It starts at pre-K, which is 3. Right, and it goes all the way up to 18. But it also can be used for up till 24.
So once the language is intact, you can
So
start.
24 and beyond.
24 and beyond, yeah. Once you could, exactly. So once there's some of the basic language readiness, then this is something that can be used. And the individuals who are facilitating the learning process, the learning of the social emotional competencies, they are called SOWERS, SOWERS, and they can get trained, right? We train them to use our curriculum.
So this guide is really your target reader are people who are in the profession to enable them to be better trainers. It's not necessarily for the end user. Like if I need to learn social emotional skills, this book is not for me, but it's for someone who could train me as part of a group. Is that what it is?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So here is the yes. This particular curriculum guide is for someone who's already been trained in the RUMERTIME process to then deliver the curriculum material to others, right? And it doesn't matter the age or stage. But it is also, we also have training materials for the trainer, right? We also have a curriculum that we use for individuals to be able to facilitate the curriculum.
Right.
So does that answer your question? Kind of.
Yeah, sort of. So essentially, as the end user, I'm the patient or the person who's learning, the consumer who's learning to not present the curriculum, but I want to benefit. I'm the end user. I need to learn social emotional skills. I can't really pick this book up and learn that, but this is really for people to help train me. The people who are going to help me, this is where they get their help.
Right, and so but also we also have for the end user
self-help type things.
Exactly.
Oh, good.
Yes, this also is also accessible for. It's also developed for those kind of people.
Okay.
Regular people in the community.
Self-help type things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because one of the premises on which we built this whole system is to make mental. What should I say? Is to make it accessible. When I say it, make the ability to function adequately in society, to be productive, to
the skill. When you say for the ability to do that.
Right. And that's kind of the definition of the RUMERTIME process. But making mental health accessible to everyone. And so as long as you can read, you can use the RUMERTIME process, which is a reconceptualization, a reconceptualizing of what mental well-being is.
Right. So so as an end user, and again, I'm an end user, so to speak. I'm not facilitating a group. I'm not teaching a trainer.
Right. You're just a regular person in the community.
Improve my social, emotional intelligence because I feel like maybe that might benefit me in my workplace, right? So how would you help me sort of overcome the stigma? Because I heard you use the word mental health.
Right.
Now, if this is presented to me as something to help with mental health, I'm not going to use it.
Exactly.
But if it's presented to me as something that can help me in my workplace interactions, help me to be better, be a better manager, a better leader, I'll jump on it right away. How do you bridge that gap for me?
For the end user in any setting, as we say in diverse settings, that's why. I mean, as we're talking, I'm having a very difficult time. Not using the just using RUMERTIME because you guys don't really know what it is yet. I'm going to use this word intentional very frequently because it is. We were very intentional. I was very intentional about putting any language referencing mental health or mental illness because GC School and the Cultivating SEEDS System, we have two goals for our organization. One is increasing accessibility, and the second goal is to utilize the effective utilization of social emotional competencies in helping people move from inter and intrapersonal imbalance to inter and intrapersonal balance, and balance in any situations. Intrapersonally and interpersonally, wherever you are, at home, school, work, community, anywhere. And so we do not use mental health. We do not use mental illness. We talk about helping. We don't even use let's do any counseling. We don't do that in our system.
Right.
We talk about rumerizing. You rumerize.
So tell me about that. What's rumerizing? That's an acronym, right?
Yes.
What does it stand for?
Okay, so rumerize comes from, it's a derivative that I made up that comes from the RUMERTIME process.
Okay.
And RUMERTIME stands for, the first R is recognize, the second letter is U and it's understand. You can look over there and you'll see our little display.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. M is manage, E is express, and R is reflect. And so you rumerize on your thoughts, interactions, mindsets, and emotions.
So recognize, understand. You got a question?
Yes, I do. I'm really fascinated by what you're saying, and you're talking, and I'm looking at this particular book that's in front of me.
Right. So that's one of the 5 collections. What is that? The RUMERTIME Coloring and Activity book, and it's a collection of 5 books. They're coloring and activity books from the ages of 5 to 105. So we also have adult coloring and activity books.
Okay, and as you were talking about recognizing, understanding, manage, express, reflect, I wanted to know, could you probably share with me a little bit how I could help my 4-year-old who has anger outbursts, how to go through this process. Yes.
Right. So a 4-year-old, and you could use we're coming out with the 3 to 5-year-old coloring and activity books. And so what you want to do, not focus necessarily on the anger outburst. In the Cultivating SEEDS System Framework, we call those interactions or behaviors fruits. Right? And they are an outgrowth or a fruit of something going on at the root. So we focus the RUMERTIME process, the Cultivating SEEDS System. First of all, it is we use an agricultural metaphor. It is based in agriculture because that's universal. Everybody everywhere has a tree, right? Or see one, right? Or grass, and they have dirt, or the earth, the soil. And so what I would do with you and to help you with your 4-year-old, the book is organized where there's a section or plot, as we call it, on recognizing. So you want to help the kid, the 4-year-old, let's call the 4-year-old, Susie is a boy?
Yeah.
A boy, so we'll call him, what do you want to call him?
We'll call him Jack.
Jack, right? So Jack you want to help Jack. He is verbal, right?
Too verbal.
And so we want to, the first lessons, the first modules in the book deals with recognizing, and in the social emotional competence world, that's self-awareness. So we're going to help Jack first maybe draw some pictures about what he sees in his head, what ideas he has in his thoughts, because that's the first plot and role, right? So he's going to recognize his thoughts, and thoughts are ideas or pictures, right? That's the definition we use. And so we'll say to Jack, let's draw, and you both can draw, because the adult also has a coloring and activity book. So, and it's organized in this exact same way. So you're writing, let's see what emotion I'm having today. Jack, what are you feeling right now? I don't know. And part of our system, we have an entire 32 emojis that teaches individuals, kids, the different language, the different emotional, giving them what we call pollen, so they get to become emotionally literate. And so we have that, and on the break, on our break, we will bring in the Emoji Chart, and you can choose. So Jack could then choose, okay, what is it he's feeling? And then he can try and draw it or draw a representation of it as he experiences it. And so what you're doing in that process is helping him to recognize, helping him to be self-aware. And, you know, across disciplines and just in life, in order to fix something, you have to know what it is you're fixing.
Yeah.
Right.
That's self-awareness. That's what self-awareness is. And so you're helping Jack to become aware of what his emotions are. And so, and so that is how we will help Jack. Then he can, there's coloring pages as well in those books. And so the RUMERTIME process uses we call it a multimodal approach. So we use multiple learning approaches. We use multiple intervention and techniques. We use multiple platforms to deliver our reconceptualized approach to individuals wanting to experience balance in their interpersonal lives.
So because I work a lot with executives and leaders, right?
So why don't you tell us more that?
Imagine me taking this to some CEOs and CFOs and asking them to draw. Have you? Yeah. Is that transferable? The drawing,
the coloring, right now, like I said, I have an adult coloring and activity book.
This one.
This is not the one.
So you've worked with adults.
Yeah.
And you've not really encountered any pushback as to.
Initially,
it's a juvenile activity.
No, because coloring right now is for adults, especially. If you Google it, if you Google adult coloring, you will see the preponderance of coloring books and activity books for adults in all different settings.
Interesting.
It is.
Well, I know
huge. Yeah. And so you may initially get some pushback, but even that pushback, you explore it because there's a reason for that. You rumorize it because there's a reason for pushback, as it is not something they're used to, and how do you deal?
My pushback would be, well, that's for kids. That's childish.
Right, and so that's a mindset.
Yeah.
Right, that's a belief.
Right.
And we cover that as well in the RUMERTIME.
Okay.
So we will then start rumerizing the different mindsets about coloring, because our goal is to use the coloring as a vehicle.
Right. So you got to get past the mindset of the vehicle before you could get the effective result that it was intended to.
Exactly. And then if the pushback continues, what you want to explore is, if you're going to be an executive leader and you're not able to shift mindsets, then you cannot or should not expect the people you're leading to shift their mindsets when you were to introduce a new way of doing things in your organization.
You have to you have to lead yourself first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's why, again, in our definition of the RUMERTIME process, it talks about recognizing your thoughts, interactions, mindsets, emotions that you have towards who? Yourself, others, and situations. And so it's the SOS approach, so self, others, and situations.
So in a leadership corporate setting, so a leader wants to use the RUMERTIME system, RUMERTIME system to understand his organization, the team members, right? So he wants to recognize their thoughts and their interactions
about themselves, others, and the organization.
Right. Recognize it, understand it, manage it. So this could actually be applied not only to oneself, but to an external target. And so, and this is the interesting thing is, this is a process that we all do all day, all night.
Right.
what I did was just bring it from the unconscious to the conscious. That's what this is. Because you want to develop, you're a businessman, and you want leaders, like you said, the example you gave, they want to introduce some new thing in their company, right? You first have to help yourself. What is it you want to bring? Right? What are your thoughts about this new program you want to bring into your company? What are how do you interact with it? What are your behaviors toward it? When somebody talks to you about it, what the pushback? That's an interaction, right? It's also a mindset. Where is that mindset? How do you what are your beliefs about this situation, this new construct or concept you want to bring into your company?
Or something.
Exactly. And then what are the feelings?
Right.
You know?
So,
and then you do that same thing with your employees. So you have the people you want to introduce it to go through the RUMERTIME process. Because that way you're helping to break down the barriers and then help move the people from inter and intrapersonal imbalance. Imbalance doesn't necessarily mean only some major illness. Imbalance could be not getting enough sleep, not drinking enough water, or not filing certain things in the right imbalance, right?
So in the context again, so leadership is change. Leadership is creating change. Essentially, that's what that's all about. Right? And so, like one of the things that I talk about in some of my writings is understanding the organizational culture, right?
Absolutely.
And then do that before you introduce any major initiative. Now you know what you're working with.
Exactly.
You understand the framework, you understand how people think. So I can see
so that's the RUMERTIME process.
Right. I can see this being applied not specifically only to trying to get a specific initiative, but it's something that a leader needs to have done just so he knows how his organization works, how his people think, how to manage the way they feel and the interactions. So this is a great tool, I think, for organizations as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why it says in diverse settings.
It's good information. It's like having intelligence. You know, when the military goes out and they gather intelligence, it's not necessarily related to a specific action they want to take, but it's information that they have stored away so that when they do want to take an action,
they know the strategy.
They know the terrain.
Exactly. And that's what this is, and that's why I said this is root. This is at the root. And if people try to say, well, we want to work on bullying, we want to work on changing the climate in the office, and they start off with the fruit, right? You start off with the employees' behaviors. You're not going to get anything from that. And also, you can use, because this is so foundational to living, work relationships, learning, family relationships, it's foundational. You don't have to, it's not tied to, only changing organizational culture. It's not tied to decreasing bullying. It's tied to everything. And that's why every time is RUMERTIME.
I'm glad you said that, because I'm also thinking of churches. And I think all of us at some point or another who are involved in churches or attending churches have gone through building changes, painting, changing the carpets, the seating.
Right.
And you have conflicts over the colors of the seat.
And that's not the issue.
And that's not
the issue. That's a fruit.
Yes.
And if we, again, one of my slogans is, what is it? I'll have to get it. I can't remember it. But picking a bad fruit from a tree doesn't stop the tree from producing bad fruit. Supervising or leading with an iron fist never increases productivity.
It might increase it while you're in the office.
But overall, it's not.
It's not effective.
It doesn't. It kills morale and creativity.
Yeah, yeah.
And so this is foundational to living balanced lives internally. That's why we say intrapersonally and interpersonally.
Good.
Yeah.
So this is a great program, Yvonne, Dr. Larry. Come up whichever way you want. This is a great program, Yvonne or Dr. Larry. So just cut and slice whichever one you want. But how much I guess I was going to use a business term. I was going to say market penetration, but basically, how successful have you been in getting the RUMERTIME system into your target market, like schools or what's your primary target market anyway?
That's individuals in diverse settings.
Individuals.
Anyone who can breathe.
Anyone who can breathe
and has language.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're the end beneficiaries, right? But you don't sell this to individual people per se.
Well, so this is the activity,
trainers.
The coloring and activity books. These are on Amazon.
Okay.
Right?
So anyone could go buy them?
Anyone could buy the coloring and activity books.
Okay.
The curriculum, on the other hand, right now we're trying to get into school systems.
Okay.
Next summer I have a sponsor who is going to help me get summer camps. RUMERTIME summer camps going.
Okay.
Vacation Bible School. And I also have a curriculum for church groups, church organizations to have small groups and on different, it's on different topics using the RUMERTIME process.
Okay, that's great.
Also, we want to be able to get it into businesses. So we do trainings and we're going to be doing webinars. Like I said, we did a training with a bank in the Caribbean.
Okay.
Helping, they had some issues regarding collegiality and cohesion. And we went in and we were only able to introduce recognize, right? And we call those the 5 plots, the 5 letters: recognize, understand, manage, express, and reflect. We call those the plots. And on each of those plots, we have the four rows. The 4 rows spell the word time, right? So recognizing your thoughts, interactions, mindsets, and emotions. And we were only able to get in recognizing, and that's it. We didn't get to hit on the rows, but to give them an overview.
So this was done in a group setting at
the bank. Yeah, it was done because they identified some of the leaders, the middle management leaders, and brought them in. I think it was about 15 to 20, and started that process with them. So we're hoping to carry that process to the reflect.
Okay. So are you?
You're going back to that bank to?
We're hoping to. Yeah.
Are you considering developing a facilitated curriculum guide for corporate leadership? It seems like you have different target markets. You have the 8 to 10 year old, the 5 to 7 year old. So maybe something that says facilitated curriculum guide.
So you were asking about the corporate, right? How is there a training for corporate? Because you see the ones here for 8 to 10. And so last week we did, we just came back from Broward County school system where we trained the school personnel. We trained individuals who work with families, right? So in homes. And we also trained the community liaisons. So we trained social workers, we trained nurses, we trained community liaisons, and some of the school administrators in using the Cultivating SEEDS System Framework. So that's so we customize and tailor our training to fit the needs of the people that want our training. And so we can do the exact same thing with businesses, in the medical profession, anyway, construction. It doesn't matter, because again, the fruit is businesses want productivity, right? They want, the bottom line is money. How do I get my employees or my business to produce more money? Well, you have to kind of drill down, because like we said earlier, beating people over the head, ruling with an iron fist does not increase that kind of productivity. It does not bring a collaborative type of culture. And so what will do it?
Right. And one of the things that I found too is that in terms of productivity, and it's really interesting that you mentioned that sometimes people focus on the fruit, right? Which is, say, productivity, and they want more of it. And what sometimes leaders fail to do is a process I call VA-VIVO. VA for values, VI for vision, it's the first two letters, and VO the voice. So until leaders
say that again.
VA-VIVO, sounds like something real exotic. VA-VIVO.
VA-VIVO.
So values, vision, and voice. If leaders don't have a good handle on their VA-VIVO, they will never get productive employees. Because here's an example of how that would work. If as a leader or business owner, I can't tell you what my values are as my employees, what's important to me, what's important to this company. What you probably end up with is people working really hard on things that are not important.
Exactly.
Because you've never told them what's important. Exactly. And that's where the recognize comes in.
And sometimes the leaders themselves don't know what is, they haven't been able to recognize or become self-aware to know what is important to them.
Right. So once you understand your importance, one of the things organizations do a lot, and you hear a lot of consultants talk about, well, you must have a corporate vision, but you can't have a vision unless you have a value, right? A vision basically is, where do you want to go? Now, what if you set a vision to get to point A, but point A is not important to you? It's not a value to you. You have to know your value before you set your vision. And again, it fits right in to RUMERTIME. And then, of course, once you've got your value and your vision, now you could voice it, your voice. Now you could speak. People understand with clarity what's important, where are we going.
And that's the express.
Then that's the express.
And
so we're on the same page then.
It's just different language, given our background.
Different spaces that we work in.
And it's important, but it is important because my tagline for GC School is every piece matters. And so VA-VIVO is important for leadership and the business world. But when it's turned on another side, it is the RUMERTIME process.
It's really two sides of a coin, right?
Exactly.
And this actually, and as I'm sitting here talking with you, I'm actually thinking that your RUMERTIME process is really an excellent tool or pipeline that a leadership consultant could use to get the outcomes. So he goes to a client, right? He or she goes to a client and says, I'm a leadership consultant. I could help your organization be more clear on its goals. I could help you eradicate complacency, etc. And sometimes that's where the conversation ends. Now, how do you actually implement that? And this is where RUMERTIME comes in.
And that is the thing. And I also I know even ministers, right? I say to them, religious people, or Christians or whomever, there's a scripture in the Bible that talks, it's Romans 12:2. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And then you will know the perfect will of God. And when I read that text years ago, that is part of the inspiration for this whole process. Renew your mind. It says, do not be conformed, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. How do you renew your mind? A lot of people don't know how. Okay, they renew your mind. How do you renew it?
Yeah, good
What's the steps?
They think, well, I go to sleep every night.
Oh, I pray. Oh, I read my Bible. But you've been doing that for hundreds of years, and you're not getting.
You got the same mind.
And then you still don't know
how to measure it.
Right, but then because then it says, then you will know the perfect will of God. So it says there's something before that. In order to know the perfect will of God, your mind needs to be renewed. But then how do you do that? Because then it all goes back again. You will be transformed. How do you become transformed?
Yes, starts with renewing.
By renewing your mind. But then I don't know how to renew my mind.
Right.
Which then stops me from knowing the perfect will of God for my life.
And transformation.
And the transformation. And so the steps to renewing your mind is the RUMERTIME process. It's the 5-step psychosocial problem-solving strategy that moves individuals from inter and intrapersonal imbalance to inter and intrapersonal balance. And that's the definition of the RUMERTIME process.
I'm so excited by it.
You're excited?
I'm so excited.
Yay!
Because
You excited, babe?
I am excited. You asked me why do you exist?
Yeah.
Or why are you in this church? What's the purpose?
Okay.
Is it just to keep the seat warm?
Yeah.
And your place of employment, what's the purpose?
Right.
What's the mission of this organization?
Yeah.
There's no recognition usually.
And that's the first piece, that self-awareness. Being able to look honestly, and so the definition that we use is honest and accurate assessment of oneself.
Or why am I in this marriage?
Right.
What do I recognize?
Right. And but people will say, yeah, I'm self-aware. But are you honest?
So your assessment tool is
Well, I have multiple.
Okay. But the drawing is one of the assessment tools. That's right.
And it's also a way of managing, expressing. It uses all of those because, again, in order to understand, manage, express, or reflect, you have to first recognize, which is the self-awareness. So self-awareness is recognizing and understanding. Manage is managing yourself and managing relationships. Expressing, we use social awareness, being able to understand the other, right? And how you relate to the other. And then reflecting is responsible decision making. And we have assessment tools, we have activities that you use. You can, a corporate trainer can use that entire reflect, which is the responsible decision making tool, to help leaders know how to make decisions and also to help them help their employees.
And also it's a sense of assessment.
Yeah. So
how did all of this, we can assess, reflect, how did all of these work?
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks for inviting us over.
Yeah, so you can, if you want to get in touch with us, with GC Scored, you can go to our website and look at the bottom of your screen. That's what they do. But for those who don't want to go to the bottom of your screen, it is www.gcscored.org. Again, GC Scored, SCORED.org. And you can catch us on Facebook as well as the YouTube, the GC Scored YouTube channel, LinkedIn, all the different social media. Tweet us.
Tweet at us.
Tweet at us.